Chinto. Right. 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 Okay, so what we're going to do is break the kata down and we're going to do some applications. These aren't sacrosanct, so they are suggestions. It's the way that I practice Chinto. So again, if your instructor says something else, then that's fine. But these are just the way that I interpret the kata in here. Not just my moves, but sometimes it was maybe some of the things that we did with Sensei Schmidt, or it was Sensei Takamizawa, but not all the moves. So again, just enjoy them, just practice them if you want. Not a problem if you don't. Wash. So, first combination we're going to look at is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So, what we're going to practice is just on the spot. Sensei Kerry is going to try and hit me, and it will be not this, Wash, not 90 degrees, but and make sure that you turn. It's an important move that you turn. It'll be demonstrated later the reason why. So just basically stand there and then I'll be doing it to Sensei Kerry, and Sensei Kerry will be punching. I'll be punching to Sensei Kerry on the spot, so you'll get the angle from the other side as well. So can you see the turn and the gliding suri and slight inasu? Once you've got used to it, then why not try both of you doing the actual action together? So I punch, Sensei Kerry punches. So you are doubling up. Next way to practice is actually physically do some moves. So I'll be moving towards Sensei Kerry and Sensei Kerry will be moving back, but we'll be trying to do those applications together. 1, 2, and then come down the room the other way. You get used to this movement and the punch. After all, when I think of this, I think of doing one of the IO committees. So if I attack Sensei Kerry, watch, 1, 2, and then the Maegeri comes in. Yeah, so when I do that move, I think of the IO committee. Just try it. Okay, so what we'll be doing now is when the punch comes in, 1, yeah, next move is backhand and drop the weight, not just hitting it, but drop the weight. The uki will be feeling it. You drop your weight. If you miss, this one will be coming down. So it's 1, 2, then suri. Straight at them, not going to the side. The kata doesn't go to the side, the kata goes forward. And you can see the reaction with Sensei Kerry's center line. He goes back. Now I adjust to tatai seishin, I move to the side. And the gakuzuki comes in. I mean, so 1, 2, 3, 4. I've done the suri. Now I need to open the stance up to another tatai seishin. Tatai seishin, offline. tate seishan. Tate seishan, down. Not here. This is the area facing suri. Then open and punch. So once more. 1, 2, 3. Suri, open up. Then we want to get rid of him. So it's not a big arm movement, but here. Again. Too much grip. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Move away. So the next combination that we're going to work on is we've gone round, we've moved around. Next one is up, down, knee dangeri, and lunge. So do it slowly. From there, project in, drop down, knee dangeri, and uke, once more. Jodan, down, knee dangeri, and double strike, and move away. Okay, so just a few pointers. Okay, from here, not just on the spot, and up. Try and project yourself forward, in to the attack, forward. Reason why, for the gakuzuki, if the gakuzuki is coming in here, I want to be able to move in. So it changes it from just an uke to an uchi, to strike, to move forward. So you can see the difference between here. Yeah, you've got this one, he can carry on. If I move in, forward, yeah, you can see the difference with the attack. It actually takes him his balance. So try and move in and forward. When you bring arms up, try not to be here. This is blocking the view, this is blocking the view. So try and do right the way up so I can view 180 degrees. When you come down, then knee dangeri, your kick goes in, and again, suri, and punch. Use your hip, use your body to clear. Next move we'll be looking at is forward and back, and through, and strike, and up. Okay, so if this person grabs, yeah, and pulls, worst thing you can do is to pull the opposite direction. Okay, you need to diffuse it by going forward. Forward. Then use your body weight and your turn. Clenched, pull in, diffuse it a little bit, arm position, open the hand. If you open the hand, it's easier to get it through. If it's fist, it's difficult. Open hand, body weight, and turn. So you see it on Pinanidan. When you go forward, strike, grab. Yeah, and going forward. And very, very similar. So whenever I do Chinto in this area, I think of Pinanidan. Yeah, so next. Here. Yeah. Forward. Back of the hands together. Use your chest to make the break. then your arm movements, and down into the elbows. Yeah, then, okay, let's do that slowly. So forward, cover for the headbutt. Use not just your hands, but first of all, just to break with your chest and arms into the elbows. Now one sends a geri off balance, so I'll remove my right hand first of all. So I'm going to shikidachi or kibidachi to break. Now I'll just use the right hand. So I need to make sure he's coming forward for this to be in range. Strike. So together, hip movement, break. Yeah, some styles do a big motion with this arm to move it. For Wado Ryu, just basically drop. Okay, don't make a big, not like Seishan. No Seishan moves. Up, chest, arms. Quick move. Okay, so I quite enjoy doing some sort of jiu-jitsu moves. So if you're a jiu-jitsu practitioner, you have to do your practices all your life. But we sort of dip into doing jiu-jitsu with our karate. So that's what makes up Wado Ryu, yeah? Karate and the jiu-jitsu move. So it's always nice to take an interpretation. So on the first move, here, grab. Yeah, so with most martial arts, you try and take the uki's balance. So I'm only doing what the kata does, which is back and turn. Here, you should be able to break it. Break the move. So you can practice that just by taking and breaking. But if you want to do a little bit more, then here, don't fully break it, come down. Suri and punch. So once more. They try and keep hold of your wrists. You feel the resistance, I'll take it the other way. Suri and then punch. So one round through strike. When you take it down, one, make sure you're coming round. Use your wrists and your body movement. Ready? Wash. Osha! What's there? What's here? Okay, next combination. So there's a my geri come in, and keri would be kicking to the center, to my senju sen. So I need to taisabaki, I need to move. And I also need to attack, so cover and attack. So once more. So I move off center, cover and down. And then move out. So 1, 2, and just coming back up. Once more. My geri comes to center, cover, attack, move out. From the other side. I'm here, cover, through, move out. So next move, just think of Pinan Sanda. Yeah. 1, 2, through, turn. Yeah, so here. So cover, cover. I want to go through and I want to try and here. One, two, through and turn. So when you hit the knee, here, but then it's the turning. And you drop, as you turn, you drop your knee into the back of their knee. So I'll do it slowly. And cover. So here, slowly, cover, cover, move the direction, then I drop. So it's not only my body weight hitting him, but it's the turn. 1, 2, in, turn. So your cat stance, really you want to take it back to your Shito. Meant that you bring this through, you pull this hip back. Yeah, I have a tendency of raising my heel too much. So try and keep your heel just off the floor. So if you see me raise my heels, not good. So here, pull it in. Then for your back cat stance, your kakashash, put the heel down, lift. It's a different application. So the next combination we're going to use is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, you see some people within the Wado style or any other style, they will lock their back leg out. Yeah? And wrap the foot round the back. If that's the way you practice, that's fine. But in my rationale, it's if you're doing, so Sensei Kerry does, face the camera please. Fighting stance. Osh. If Sensei Kerry does a maigeri, osh, what's the position of the leg? It's bent. It's very difficult to lock your leg out and do a maigeri. It's not natural. So if you keep it bent, that's natural for a maigeri. And it's good for your balance and it's good for your posture. Locking the leg out, I know we get the name of Chinto, crane standing on a rock, so you locking the leg out, fine. For practical reasons for me, it works better and quicker with bending your knee. Yeah, it's soft knee, a soft knee, not rigid. But if your instructor says, lock your leg out, and then bend, and then do it, fine. It just means to me that it's an extra move. Just go straight. Keep it where it is, instead of locking it out. Entirely up to you. So, slowly, cover, pull, strike. So when you're doing your Kata Gordnash, make sure it's an explosion, chest drop, chest. Yeah, so it's several moves put together, not stopping. Yeah, so move, cover, pull, strike. Okuriashi, Junzuki. Okay, quicker. 1, 2, put 3, 4. So you need to make as much distance. You need to make as much distance here. Okuriashi, making distance. Once more. Move the center, strike. Okay. So here, there's the Gakuzuki, or the punch, whichever one it is. When I move forward, I'm moving my center. Yeah, so when the punch comes in, again. Yeah, I've already moved my center. So he's got two centers, the original one and the one I've moved to. I've moved, and the second one. Whoosh, thank you. So when you come to do the others, it's just a variation. One's long, one's short. Yeah, short. So you're showing that you can change direction and you can move quickly and you can keep your balance. To me, that's your Chinto. Short, sharp bursts, changing direction, keeping your balance, showing you've still got your senju-sen, your balance, and bursting with the technique that you're doing. Okay, so long versions, short versions. Obviously try and use your tatai seishan, your junzuki. So junzuki, yeah, then tatai, tatai. If you're struggling to turn, you're struggling to do this move, you're turning your body. So move the front, move the foot, move the foot. So it accommodates. Move the foot. Don't try and twist on it, because you'll end up twisting your knee and that will damage your knee. So when you come to turn, just a small move. Whoosh. Next move, combination of moves. So, one, shikidachi, kibidachi, now pull into tatai. Central, low. Don't make a big deal about dropping this, just drop. When you come up for the next move, try not to follow the arm. Just bring it to the chest. This is Madana, this is wasted move, bringing this up. There's no necessity for it. So, come up to cover, yeah? And turn. So, we have to discuss kakayuke. Various ways of doing kakayuke. So put your arm out. Gakuzuki stance, so as I can see. Yeah? I group them in two. One where it's an attack, and the other one when it's physically attached to you, and I'll try and explain that. So, kakayuke or kakayuke, there's haito or strike, then kakayuke, or straight into the kakayuke. Very similar to when you do your pinan yondan. The second group is when they are actually physically attached to you. So I'm here. After all, the only reason I know that Sensei Keri is here is because he's grabbed, I can feel it. So I have to do something else, which is I need to attack his elbow. If I try and come over and try and do this kakayuke, it's very, very difficult. It doesn't really work. Okay, so I have to attack a joint, and I have to lift. So I'm attacking. Then I come down. Then I can do it. Then MP. Keep it low, because whether I hit this, or his chest, or his face, I'm still damaging. Into your tatai seishan. Then I'll come down. Then I'm striking up. And turning. So, a couple of things, nasty things. So, here, coming down. Apply your hip. Even going into shigadachi, but make sure it's here, not here. Down into it. If you can, grab the skin underneath the gi. Pulling them down. Then, MP. Some styles make an exaggerated move. The hand goes out, punch. Then you rack in. But Wado Ryu, just 1, 2, bring it down. Okay, don't make a big move about this.
Welcome to this section of the Chinto Kata, where, as per usual, we'll have a look at the history of the kata and some of the key points. History is very interesting. We get to meet a new character and welcome back an old friend. And the key points can be specific to Chinto, but they can also be applicable to all your katas. So hopefully we can find something of interest in there. The history of Chinto is really quite interesting. Like Kanku, it seems that Chinto was an actual person. Some say Chinto was his name, others say it's a translation of warrior from the east, which may be a clue because all seem to agree he was a Chinese sailor who was washed up in Okinawa. And to make a living, he was raiding and stealing from local villages. The villagers complained and the authorities sent Matsumura. You may remember Matsumura was the legendary martial artist who learned the Kushanku kata from a Chinese official called Kushanku. And he came along to sort out Chinto. So apparently they fought, and they fought to a standstill. Neither of them can get the advantage over the other. So Matsumura said to Chinto, teach me the secrets of your kata, I'll get you a boat back to China. So this is Matsumura's attempt at encoding a fighting system that he encountered when fighting Chinto. And it is a very martial kata. It is a real fighting kata, and we'll have a look in the key points at some of the reasons and some of the techniques why it is a fighting kata. But a very interesting history. And our old friend Matsumura, he'll crop up a lot in the future. He was responsible for Naihanchi kata and Basai amongst others. So karate as we know it today is by and large influenced by Matsumura. So quite an interesting history. The key point number 1 is this is a very martial kata, but depending on what you're intending to do with this, it will also require some art, and that's the same as all your katas. So when we do some demonstrations, we'll have a look at what will make it martial or what will make it art. And hopefully you can find horses for courses, whether you're practicing for fighting or practicing for other reasons. And this, like I said, covers most of the katas. The second key point is Chinto is unusual, is it has tenshi, heaven and earth. So sometimes you come up, sometimes you drop down. As we mentioned in the Pinan katas, up till Godan, they're all pretty linear. In Godan, you get the jump. And this is the first time we introduced the other 2 directions in kata. You get the normal 8 directions forward, back, left, right, and the diagonals. Godan, you get up and down. And we see the use of this up or down in Chinto. So we'll try and put some explanations to that, make it a little bit more obvious as to why this tenshi is a key component of Chinto. And the final aspect is compliant versus non-compliant training. And we'll have a look at compliant training and where it goes to becoming progressively less compliant up to fully non-compliant training. And we'll try and explain the differences. So key points of Chinto. We mentioned this idea of martial versus art. Really enjoyed the kata competitions. There's a world sort of championship for it, and it was featured in the recent Olympics. But the katas there have become very theatrical. One that always springs to mind is a kata called unsu, where they make this very dramatic sweep of the foot, and the whole thing slows down, and realistically what it is, you're stepping behind somebody and shoving them over. So they've taken the martial aspect and turned it into a more artistic interpretation. Sections when they perform Kanku, they pause in sections of the kata that are clearly multiple attacks and defences, but they pause for dramatic effect, especially on the Nidangeri sections. So if you're going to perform a kata or you're going to perform Chinto, you might want to look where you're going to put these theatrical breaks and make it more artistic. But Matsumura created this as a fighting kata to encode Chinto's fighting system. So what we'll have a look at is the reason why I think it is a martial kata and a fighting system. And I think the very first section of the kata really reflects that. You know, the whole setup of the first section is purely fighting, and there are multiple fighting techniques included. So if you're going to sort of use this as a fighting system, if you understand what all these various techniques are, then it's a fantastic place to start. So the first movement of the kata is the foot turns in and we come off the fighting line. So in Wado and other martial arts, this is known as taisaboki, body management or body shifting. So that would suggest that Matsumura was saying that Chinto was skilled at taisaboki. Boxers don't block, they slip punches. So if you were going to sort of say to somebody, try not to block, try to use taisaboki, this would be a good way of doing it. So as the Jodan punch comes in, we step out of the way and strike. We're off the fighting line. So that's a good indication. This is what Matsumura was trying to tell us. In Sensei Roger's breakdown of the kata, he was indicating Myoto Day, husband and wife hands. And we did a drill to show you how to practice that. So after the punch has arrived and we've dodged out of the way, we're taking control of the arm. But we've also got limb control. Comes down, which clears for other attacks in the kata. So again, maybe Matsumura was trying to tell us that Chinto was skilled at evasion, taisaboki. He was skilled using Myoto Day, husband and wife hands. And he was using this to teach us sort of fighting methods. There's another interpretation you can use for this is as a joint lock, a joint strike. So we've come off the line, strike, either side of the elbow. Do it hard enough, you're certainly going to sprain or damage the elbow, may even break it. So maybe Matsumura was telling us that Chinto was skilled at attacking joints, joint locking. So instantly, in the first few moves of the kata, we've got taisaboki, we've got Myoto Day, we've got potential joint locks. So a very martial kata. The next section of the kata is where we go forwards and turn. Now, we've mentioned in the past that going and turning in a kata can indicate one of two things. One, it's to get behind the opponent, or two, it's setting you up for a throw. In this case, because we're going anti-clockwise, we can't really get behind the opponent. So it would suggest it's a throw of some description. So there's a couple of possibilities we can have a look at. As the attack comes in, if we do what the kata tells us and we go on the dead side, then we can push in and turn and do a classic Arumanagi type throw. So that sets us up beautifully. The turn off the line, we can come back in, turn and take him down. You can pop round this side. But it's also sets us up for a different type of throw, is if the attack comes in again and we move inside, the foot movement on the Gakuzuki opens this line. So once we've hit him with the Gakuzuki, we can step in, set him up for a Nagoshi type throw. So the going forwards and turning in the kata, indicating that Chinto was a skilled thrower. So we've got Tai Sabaki, we've got Miyota Day, we've got potential joint strikes, joint locks, and throwing potential. So it seems that Chinto was quite a good scrapper. And a little first section of the kata is telling us just how good he was, and we're recording it for history. So we also mentioned in the key points about Tenshi, heaven and earth. And that the Pinan katas tend to be very linear, except for Godan, where you get a jump. In Chinto, we get a lot of rise and fall, and especially this section, which seems particularly odd. So there's a few interpretations we can have a look at for that, involving the use of the rise and fall. Because we haven't got any mats down, we're going to have to do this a little bit careful, but generally with this technique you just plough your opponent straight into the floor, but we'll do it a little bit easy. But what we're trying to use is his own momentum against him. So as he comes charging in with a punch, we come up and meet him and then take him down. So that's an interpretation of coming up to this. We've come in, we've met him, taken him down, turned him around, spun him around. But we tend to go in this in a clockwise direction, which would indicate that we can actually get behind him. So if he comes in with a Chudan attack, we can use Tai Sabaki and take him down using this technique, one hand on the chin, one hand on the arm, and just use his momentum again and take him down. So a couple of explanations of where we can go with this rise and fall. We come up to meet and then fall to take him down. So again, it would suggest that Chinto was quite a skilled thrower, or he had sort of knowledge of throwing type techniques. Once we've taken him down, we covered this in Kushanku, is whatever you can do standing up, you can pretty much do on the floor. So we get this odd technique. I've thought about this long and hard and come up with a potential answer. And I trialled it in non-compliant training, which we'll cover in a little bit. But basically, what I'm saying is I managed to do this against somebody who didn't want it done to them. And it's actually worked quite well. So I know it's not a flight of fancy, it is a valid technique. But if we imagine we've used one of those techniques and we've taken him to the floor, this arm position. We've got his head, controlling his head, and I've got his arm. I've now got an arm bar. But I want to free this hand up. So if I took my foot under there, like we do in the kata, I've now freed this hand up. And that means I can choke him out. So this entire section of standing on one foot gives me an arm bar and a choke. So again, another way of looking at what seems to be a very peculiar technique. And I said I've managed to do this in a live drill where the training partner didn't know what was going to happen, and it worked. So it's not like a complete flight of fancy. So the final key point is compliant versus non-compliant training. All the demonstrations we've done so far, Simon has very kindly stood still and allowed me to perform the techniques. And that is him being compliant. If, for example, he was teaching me wrist releases, as soon as I did this, if he hit me in the head, I would never learn the technique. He was being non-compliant. But if he allows me to practice the technique, eventually get to know what's going on and find the technique. So what we could do as a drill is we can build this up. So eventually we might sort of be like grappling and sparring, trying to set things up. So that's semi-non-compliant. He knew eventually I was going to try and grab him, but it was a more realistic way of performing the technique. But I could never have achieved that if he kept punching me in the face when I was first trying to learn it. And the final stage would be if we were sparring and that came out completely spontaneously during sparring. And sparring is the last level of non-compliant training. But you've got to go through the semi-compliance and the compliance to get your skill sets up to speed before you can do it in live sparring. And that's what I was saying about this section. I actually managed to do that in live sparring, completely unscripted. The guy I was training with didn't know it was coming. So I know it does work and you can do it. But this is important. You find the keyboard warriors when I say, well, I'd never grab your wrist and I'd never let you do this and I'd never let you do that. They're missing the point. It's a way of learning the techniques, and you do 10,000 of them. Then eventually, when you actually need it, it comes out and it's real. But you're never going to get there if people are non-compliant from the start. So your training can be a stress test of this. Starts off very compliant, not so compliant, not so compliant, not so compliant. Sparring. And then if you can get the technique to pop out in sparring when you actually need it, the process has worked.
Okay, so that brings us to the end of our series on Chinto. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you liked it, great. If not, fine. And it'd be nice to have some discussions about particular points of the kata. Next time you'll see us is when we start the series on Naihanchi. So join us again in a few weeks' time. Thank you.